Chair and CEO Peter Orszag, also OMB Director under President Obama, recently co-authoring an opinion piece in the Council on Foreign Relations magazine about energy addition. Peter, thank you. We're going to get to all that in just a second. Listen, you're a finance guy, too. Markets are getting destroyed. Can I just get your take on what's happening with the stock market before we dive into the energy stuff?
Yeah, I think this is pretty simple, which is the underlying fundamentals of the economy are really strong. There is, unfortunately, a huge amount of uncertainty right now that is affecting boardrooms and investors. And I think people could understand tension with China. It's Canada, Mexico, and Europe that is confusing. So the good news is this is a choice. If those issues were resolved in the near term, the underlying fundamentals are really strong. I think we'll get back to a much more auspicious market and economy. If this level of uncertainty persists, it's really damaging to confidence and therefore to business investment, M&A, et cetera.
I know you're not a market maker in Palantir or any of those AppLovin or any of those stocks, but I'm sure you and your team watch them. How much of this sell-off do you think is related to tariffs and uncertainty?
I think a lot of it. And again, it's specific about what, tariffs in areas that people hadn't anticipated, on, off. So a big part of it's uncertainty, but there's also a part, look, a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico would have significant economic effects inside the United States. So it's partly the uncertainty and it's partly, wait, are we really doing that?
Well, we interviewed the Secretary of Energy earlier, and he said, listen, this is all part of a negotiating tact, and kind of echoing your point, Peter, which is this can be turned off as easily as it was turned on. Do you find some hope in that once there is a solution?
This is the hope here, or this is why this is actually quite promising if it's resolved in the near term, which is, again, it would be much more challenging if this were reflecting some big imbalance in the economy or some fundamental challenge for U.S. productivity. That's not the case. Instead, this has been, created over the past couple months. It could be uncreated, and then we could be back to the races. So
if the tariffs are ultimately levied, we get a 25% tariff on Canadian energy coming into the United States, or 15%, whatever the number is. Will that have a deleterious effect on the American economy?
At those levels, I think there is a deleterious effect, but that's being exacerbated right now by uncertainty about whether or not is that what's going to happen. So there's one thing, we don't know what to plan for, and then the second thing is, once you know what to plan for, yes, tariffs at that kind of level, that would not be good for U.S. economic performance.
Well, I appreciate you veering off, because my first question was going to be a very simple one, which is, why is Peter Orszag here? This is an energy conference, Peter. You're the CEO of Lazard.
So first of all, we have a huge presence here in Houston. M&A in energy is a big deal. We have a stellar team. That's point one. Point two is energy is foundational and fundamental to economic growth. All the things we were just talking about, the economy, inflation, those are driven by energy, let alone the future of AI. And then third, we have long been a thought leader in this field. We've published the levelized cost of energy studies that have gotten a lot of attention. And as you mentioned, I just co-authored a piece with Dan Yergin in Foreign Affairs, continuing that tradition of trying to provide thought leadership on energy because it's such an important sector.